Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of NintendoFuse's Industry Talk. My name is Barry, and today I am joined by a really dear friend of mine, Dan Butchko from Playcrafting.
Hello, everybody. So happy to be here.
So, for those of you that have followed NintendoFuse for a while, you will know that this is actually the fourth annual talk that
Wow.
I've gotten the pleasure of sitting with Dan, because we were there at the beginning with 2017 with the very first Play NYC. But for those that are new, that hey, maybe they didn't discover Nintendo Fuse back then, and they're just discovering us now, and they're just discovering, Playcrafting now. Dan, why don't you just give a little brief thing, on the history of Playcrafting and Play NYC as a whole?
Sure. So we at Playcrafting are one of the biggest networks and communities of video game developers in the United States, which is super exciting. We got our start as a meetup group in New York way back in 2009. And now we have grown to a full-time team. And, we do a lot. On one hand, we are doing classes and courses. So for folks that want to get started on making games and building games of their own, we have a lot of different classes and courses for that. We work with different partners to actually build out games ourselves with the developers in our community. And then, of course, we do events. And our biggest annual event out of the over 50 that we do each year is called Play NYC. And we launched it way back in 2017 as, a way to really give New York its own game convention. New York has such a vibrant community of video game players, streamers, developers, and creators that we felt like it needed its own all games convention. And so that's why we launched it back in 2017. It's been a live convention up until now, for this year at least. And each year we welcome over 5,000 people in person, over 100,000 online. We've featured over 150 games per year for the past few years, talks, panels, streams, tournaments, etc. And really for us, we want to help put New York on the map for its culture, industry, and everything else around games. And also use New York as a real central meeting point because New York is the crossroads of the world. And so offering sort of a beacon for players, streamers, viewers, and developers from outside of New York to come on in and join in on the fun has been a big part of what's made Play NYC so special on top of all the New York-based folks. So this year is obviously a little bit different with Play NYC, but the spirit is there. We have a lot of great stuff lined up, and I'm super excited to finally be able to start talking about it.
Yeah, somebody who's been to the show every year, I think the one word I would describe or use to describe the show is evolution. And I say that because you seem to be going with the pattern. Every year you have a different venue, and it seemed like last year you found the perfect venue, and it was like, yeah, we're going to stick with this venue. This is great. But evolution happened again, and you have a new venue this time, online, thanks to the World's event. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about the challenges and what the process of changing from a in-person physical event to a digital event, because this isn't just a playcrafting thing, this is a world over thing.
Right. Yeah, so we announced Play NYC 2020 way back in October of last year. It was the first time we had this much time between announcing it and actually having it happen. We were going to come back to the same venue, love the Metropolitan Pavilion, really great fit for our live convention. But then, of course, COVID-19 happened, and so we really had to go back to the drawing board. And for us, that live experience, having thousands of people all united with the warm glow of video games, is always so special. And we need to figure out a way to be able to do something like that, but digitally, and do it in a way that doesn't put anybody's health at risk, and allows folks to join. And so what we wound up coming up with is a fully virtual event. So for the first time, it's virtual. It's a full week long, so Monday through Sunday this year, as opposed to just Saturday and Sunday in previous years. And it's free. It's free to join. So, while we are bummed to not be able to do the live event, we're really excited to unite people from all over the place in our virtual setting. And, for us, with New York being our hometown, and obviously Play NYC being such a New York centric show. At that time, when we made the decision, New York was really the center of the pandemic. And so we wanted to make this year's show a real love letter to New York through video games and galvanize folks around that can't stop, won't stop attitude that I think anyone who lives in and around New York, has been to New York, or has heard of New York before knows is really sort of the core resilience that every New Yorker and folks that are there shares. And so it's something that really sort of took off as we sort of started to put everything together. We got some really great partners involved in it. And I'd say that the biggest challenge for us was, back in April and May, when we were thinking about and trying to figure out how to deliver a virtual only Play NYC, we went into a lot of different directions where we were going to do like a fully VR 3D model thing. We were going to do an AR thing. And in the end, just given our community and the folks that come to Play NYC, as you've seen before, it's all ages, families. We have folks that are everything from hardcore gamers to casual players to, families and people that just want to have a good time. And so we really wanted to make this as super simple and basic as possible so that it could be as accessible to everyone as possible. And so delivering a show that is across our website and through streaming was the easiest way to do so. Obviously, we have to sacrifice that live in-person convention experience, but without that, we're also, opened up to a lot of exciting new possibilities and new kinds of content that we're doing and new partners that we've brought on. So I'd say that the core of Play NYC is going to be there. It's going to be stronger than ever, even if it's delivered in a different way. And I think it's really going to speak to the moment that we're all in collectively inside, video game culture and outside, and really excited as things have really shaped up and come together in the past couple months.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest hurdles with any type of convention is the location. And I know like over the past few years I've talked with other developers just doing industry talks, and I'm like, oh, have you heard of Play NYC? You think about bringing your games to Play NYC, and a lot of them, like, oh, I can't get out to New York City, or I'm over on the West Coast, and travel is always an issue with any of these shows. You want to do PAX, you're gonna have to travel. You want to do Gamescom, you're gonna have to travel. So for a lot of the smaller developers, it's definitely harder to travel. But even the bigger ones, it's, do we want to add that to the budget? Since this is now online, travel is no longer an issue. Have you found yourself receiving, or more developers from outside the New York area, more like, oh yeah, I'll join and I'll participate now that I can?
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen a huge uptick in outside New York developers joining up this year. With the travel, the expense, all that logistics and whatnot gone, it allows us to, reach a lot more folks and bring more folks on board. And this is also the first year that it's free for indie developers to exhibit too. So, it didn't feel right for us this year, just knowing that independent developers are the core of our community, to charge for, virtual exhibiting space. And so with that cost barrier gone, the travel barrier gone, and all those logistics barriers gone, we've seen a lot of interest come in from folks across the country and around the world. And so it's been really fun to see what happens when you remove those restrictions, and the sounding board and the net is so much wider to see who, what people are working on and what they want to show off.
And that's good to hear. I'm glad more people are open to it. Now, at the beginning, I did mention a word for the show, and that was evolution. And I was referring definitely to the location, but also the show itself. And for those that aren't aware, like, the show as a live show has been great with different booths and different developers showing off their games, and that's been fantastic. But over the years, the show has evolved in the sense of, like, 2017, you had panels, which was really cool, and then you had the graffiti games, and in 2018, and you had all these other things coming out. And I want to know this year, because the schedule isn't posted as of this recording.
Right.
So what can people expect? I mean, obviously it's free, so it's not like, oh, do I want to spend my money on this? It's more, do I want to spend my time on this? Will panels be coming back? I know you started doing the streaming, and you've done like the highlights, which has always been a fantastic part of it. I'm assuming that's going to be there as well. But what can the average player, the average gamer, the average curiosity, person say, hey, I want to partake in Play NYC? What can they expect out of this year's show being digital?
Sure. Yeah, sure. So Monday through Friday, we have a lineup of talks and panels, as well as some live demos and debuts. That'll be happening each night, Monday through Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday will be, an evolved version of what we've done for our stream previously. We'll have more demos, some live tournaments, some special guests. That piece is largely untouched compared to previous years. So what we really wanted to do this year was, find a way to get folks excited to find out more about the people behind the games and learn more about the games themselves. And so that's where, especially with everyone behind their own computer screen, mostly from, the comfort of their own home, we could really, lean back in toward talks and panels. Whereas, in previous years, we launched with, as you know, an extensive talk and panel program. And then we took a lot of that and we brought it to the stream. And so the stream has sort of served multiple purposes while the live convention floor was open. Now we've added talks and panels back in across Monday through Friday. And in the end, we will be posting the full schedule in the next couple of weeks. This is completely up to folks to, participate in as they'd like. So you can come in and you could tune in every single day for several hours and, check it out, check out the games, meet the developers, etc. Or you can just pop in whenever you'd like. So it really is on everybody to just kind of have fun with it and go to the things that they get the most excited about. Our website is going to be hosting, we have over 85 exhibitors confirmed so far. Given that, we don't have a live convention space, each of those exhibitors, quote unquote, are going to be the games themselves. So you're going to get right to the games. Really, it's going to depend on whether the games are available or whatnot. But there will be a spot per exhibitor per game on our website. And then for graffiti games, which has obviously become a bigger and bigger part of Play NYC each year, in the first year, we launched it as a way to just show off and amplify the voices of, indie developers in New York. And it was called Graffiti Games because we tasked them with creating digital interactive experiences that also transformed the physical space of the convention floor and the venue itself. 2018, 2019, we wanted to use Play NYC as a way to amplify the voices of marginalized developers. And so in 2018, we focused on first-generation immigrant developers. 2019, we focused on LGBT developers. And for that, it's a great opportunity for us as Playcrafting and at Play NYC to lift the voices of developers that you may not hear from as much, and also have a lineup of some really cool games that you can't find anywhere else. And so for this year, given everything that's going on in the state of the world, we just had to make sure that we were spotlighting and amplifying the voices of Black game developers. And so we announced the lineup of 5 developers that were selected. They're from across the country. And those games will be debuting on our itch page, so they will be playable going live throughout that week. We'll hear conversations with them throughout the week. And Graffiti Games is going to make an even bigger impact than ever before, because for the first time since the start of Play NYC, it's always been a dream of ours to have Rockstar involved, and Rockstar Games is involved. So they are our Graffiti Games sponsor this year, meaning the impact and the funding for those developers is just significantly higher than it was before, and will be joining us with a talk during the week as well. So excited to have Rockstar join us. They are one of the, if not the OG, game studios in New York. They have a huge presence in New York, and this was the year to have them join. And it's exciting to see them join up in a year that is especially challenging for a lot of people, and to show up and support New York and the developers that are part of graffiti games in the way that they have.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, you've had Avalanche there with, Just Cause 3 in the past, and that was, put out by or published by Rockstar. But it's great to see, Rockstar step in and support this because, for those that never went to Play NYC, the graffiti games were always something special because they were so unique. I think it was the first year, 2017, there was like a log game where you were like
Yeah,
swimming up and you had to like balance the log and stuff like.
salmon roll, I think it was
Yeah,
called. Yeah.
yeah, like that was just so unique. And I think it was 2018. There was like a Mario race game where you were like actually running, like it was you actually had to move Mario, and it was Mario versus Peach. It was like a subway race.
Yep.
It was really really cool. And there was also like I think it was a llama shooter or like a VR llama type
Yep. Yep.
experience. Yeah, there was just so many of these weird, quirky, unique experiences that were exclusive, and I think that brought a big charm to the show. It was something really cool. So I'm excited to see what these are, what 2020 brings. And one word you used was playable. Like the fact
Yeah.
that we are going to be able to play these games from our home, that excites me.
Yeah.
Now, what about the other games? Because as a journalist, I love not only do I love talking to all these developers, I love getting to experience their games, and I've discovered some fantastic games on top of some fantastic friends doing this. Um, what about those? Will we be able to download or stream or somehow play the 85 or whatever you said these games, or are these only going to be video of where we watch a playthrough?
It'll depend on the developer and on the state of the game. If they have a playable demo available, we will link to it. It won't live on the Play NYC site. We'll link to their site. And then for those that are not available, there will be video content. And depending on the day and the time and whatnot, we have some of those also doing live demos during the week as well, and as part of the stream. For us, we wanted to come up with a solution that helped us amplify the developers themselves without trying to reinvent the wheel here. And so for us, with this being a love letter to New York through games and to the developers in our community, using this as an opportunity to point to the places where they're talking about their games, where their games are playable on their own, makes a ton of sense. It would feel, I think, disingenuous to do otherwise. But that's also where, understanding the interactive component being so important for something called Play NYC, that's where it was really important for us to make sure that those graffiti games do go live and are available to play on PC or Mac from wherever folks are.
That's awesome. Now, one thing I also noticed, because you can go to the website now and you can register to go, but there's no press link anymore, and obviously because it's online, it's a little different. But again, one of the things I loved was just being able to talk to a developer. It's one thing to see a video, it's one thing to see a demo, but to hear the passion behind the voice of so many of these people, because a lot of these games are passion projects. They're,
Yeah.
hey, you know what, I'm working full time and I'm staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning working on this because this is what I love. Or, hey, I just quit my job and now I'm fully focused on this and I want to make this a reality. This has always been my dream. Those are so special to me because I love that passion. Will the general public or will press or anybody actually get, will the developers be on hand to chat and talk and, spiel their game, kind of deal, and we could ask questions. Oh, I saw in the video this happened. Could you tell me a little bit more about that? Or, will that interactivity be there this time, or is that unfortunately something that we're going to lose?
Yes, it will be available for our developers who are speaking, exhibiting, our partners and sponsors, as well as press. So we're going to have a dedicated Discord channel just for all those folks to connect. We're also going to do our regular, connection through contact information for all press and exhibitors that we do every year. And then for folks that are, just general attendees, our streams will have, live chats and interactive pieces to them where they'll be able to interact as well with folks. So that was our way, again, to have a solution that is as accessible as possible, but still allows for that connection between folks from a distance.
That's cool. So Yeah, because I would hate to see, because sometimes a game, you see a video of it and it leaves you confused, like, oh, what is this? And sometimes it needs to be explained. Like some games just don't sell themselves; they need to be brought out, and I think that would be very helpful.
Yeah.
Now another component to Play NYC has been board games. It's not just video games. You've had board games there. You've had tabletop games. Will there be a presence with any of them this year?
Yeah, so we have some board game and tabletop game components to our talks and panels during the week. I haven't looked at the updated list just yet, but it has been open for board games and card games as well. A lot of board games and card games are using different sites and digital spaces to do demos of their games, even though you can't like be there in person with them. So it certainly has been open. We have integrated tabletop games into the programming through Monday through Friday too.
Oh, that's fantastic. Because I remember, I think it was 2017 or 2018. Like they were like down in the basement. It might have been
Yeah,
2018. They were like down in the
2018.
basement. Yeah, I was like, oh, your guys are like regulated here. Like you're like the black sheep. And then in 2019, they were like right in the center of everything, which was cool.
Yeah,
It's great to see how many developers and of all types of games just come together, and I think that's been my biggest takeaway from Play NYC. And I know for me personally it's been frustrating because I've tried to get my friends to go, or I've tried to get other press to go, and I'm like, you got to check this out, and they're not in New York. And I'm so happy this year that so many people get to experience this, and I really hope they take advantage, especially with it being a full week.
yeah.
How has the reception been, from either like longtime, fans of the show like me, or even from other people who have never come before? Have you heard any, positive, negative about the way the show is this year?
Yeah, first and foremost, we wanted to prioritize the developers that are in our community and let them know. So we already had, I think, 40 games signed on for the live version of Play NYC when we had to make the decision to make it all virtual. So we wanted to start by reaching out to them, let them know what's going on. And, the response has largely been, I'm so happy that you're doing something this year, because I was worried that it was just going to be canceled all in full until next year. So that was really encouraging early on, right before we did, the full announcement and whatnot. I think we're just now starting to see reactions and responses because we announced the new version of the convention, I think back in mid-May, and then sort of like went silent and went underground to confirm talks and panels and exhibitors and our sponsors and partners. And we just now started announcing all the different content for it. And so far, so good. I think that, the message every year that we have with Play NYC really has been coming through. It's about lifting up New York, getting a spotlight on New York, uniting all different kinds of game fans and players from all different ages and backgrounds, and to show that games can be fun in a lot of different ways and a lot of different genres and platforms, and that they can make a difference too. And that's something that we do with our graffiti games initiative every year. For us to just sort of take exactly what we do every year with Play NYC and then just kind of like plop it virtual didn't make it much sense, especially now that we're 5 months, 6 months into the pandemic. Everybody has been stuck behind their screens for the longest time. We wanted to really make Play NYC something that was casual, that you can check out at will, and you can come by and pop in from time to time, or like I said, like stick to it throughout. And I think that removing those barriers so far has given us a really positive response. And the exciting, fun part just started because we're finally telling people what exactly is going to be happening there and who's going to be joining us and what kinds of content is there. So the best kind of feedback is the feedback that we get when we're actually saying the content itself and the games that'll be there and the speakers and whatnot. And so that's all happening now. And even with our announcement about graffiti games and Rockstar supporting and the selected developers, we've already seen just such an uptick in interest and followers and folks coming through and saying they're going to check it out.
That is awesome. I'm so happy to hear that because I feel like, especially it's so hard to start up a convention, and especially, with, PAX and E3 and Gamescom, like all these other huge conventions. It's almost like you can be overshadowed. But I feel like so many of those other conventions now, they're canceling, they're postponing. But meanwhile, you guys, again, you're evolving. And I think that's a testament to Playcrafting as a whole's character, your character, and the developer's character, about the passion behind their games and about showing things off and getting the word out there, which is great. Um, will this, or I mean, I don't know if you could talk about this or if you have any answer, is this going to attract any other, or has it already attracted any other of the big publishers? Because the indies are great, and obviously Rockstar is now being a part of this. But any of the big three, or, of course, like EA, Activision, Ubisoft, have any of them, or any other bigger publishers, stepped in and said, hey, we want to have a presence in this now because it's digital?
Yeah, so we have a couple of larger studios that have joined up so far. I don't think we've announced any of them yet. um, but yeah, we have some of the larger ones coming through. Some that have been part of it before, and some new folks. Um, and the cool part about this year's show is that there are a lot of ways for developers and publishers to be a part of the convention, and so. Some folks will be joining as exhibitors on our site, and some will be joining as talks and panelists, so speakers throughout the week. And so, having folks come through in all those different kinds of ways, I think, is a really fun way to get some of these bigger players involved. And we'll have more on those coming up in the next couple of weeks as we announce the schedule too.
Now you have me excited. I can't wait for the schedule. All right, so
Hey, I said Rockstar is going to be there with a talk too. So there
oh,
you go. That's a big one.
that is huge. Will Avalanche be back?
Yes.
All right, cool. I love the Just Cause games. So for anyone now watching, they've sat through this, they've heard this. What would be one thing you could say to somebody who's already been there, who knows the show? They've already been sold on the show. They know the show, how great it is. But someone who's never heard of Play NYC, they just clicked on this just to see what's going on. They've listened to this interview. Hey, this sounds pretty interesting. What would you say to the average person who's never been to Play NYC, why they should check this out now, especially because there's no travel involved? Like,
Yeah, I think that for Play NYC previously, you had to be there in person to understand fully what it's all about. And with the current situation and with everything going virtual, there's an opportunity to get all of the content, all of the experience of Play NYC this year without paying a cent and without traveling an inch away from your computer. And so there's no excuse not to check it out in some capacity this year. And for Play NYC, I think it's important to remember again that we at Playcrafting, we're a small team of 4 people, and really Playcrafting at its core is that huge community of developers, and that's what really has always set Play NYC and everything that Playcrafting does completely apart, because developers are at the core of who we are and what we do. And that's going to be coming through again for this year's show. And, for us, we want you to come and check it out. And yes, discover some games that you've never heard of before. Learn more about games that you might have heard of before, you might have tried before. But I think Play NYC is a great opportunity to get to know the people that make those games and to understand their process and why the games are made and how the games were made. Because most, if not all of them, started exactly where all of you are as fans of games. And so, it's a really special opportunity to get to know New York developers, indie developers, and see a side of developers in games that, I don't think you would be able to see otherwise, just given the state of the world and the fact that, it's a really scary time and there's a lot of people that are in a lot of pain right now. Games have a really great opportunity here to unite folks and to excite folks and offer a little bit of escapism from what's going on in the world. And we've already seen that just more broadly with so many people buying Nintendo Switches and, playing Animal Crossing in record numbers and watching Twitch streams. I like to call it an increasingly virtual world, because already we were all there as gamers and as fans of games, and now the rest of the world is joining us. And so we have very much this like come one, come all, have some fun, check out some games, get to know the people behind them, and do it in a way that is not going to stretch the wallet or require you to go anywhere. This is the chance to finally get the Play NYC experience without having to go to NYC. And who knows what the future is going to be like 2021 and beyond. But this year I think is probably more special than ever before, because given the situation we're in, everybody's a little bit more human than they were before. And so I think you're going to see that in how folks are speaking on the talks and panels, how they're presenting their games, in the games that are there, especially with the graffiti games. We always have had a theme with our graffiti games that speaks to something that's going on currently. And given the racial injustice and the protests that are going on across the country and around the world, our graffiti games initiative really speaks to that. And we got just this really kick-ass lineup of 5 developers that are really putting their heart and soul and their perspectives into the games that are being created for graffiti games. And there's games that have been made for graffiti games previously that have gone on to great success, like Bizarre Barber, which was a graffiti game at Play NYC in 2018 and went on to get funded by Oculus and is released and is an awesome game. So you never know where those games and many others are going to go for the ones that are on the indie side. And you'll get to know, a little bit more about the folks behind some of the games that you've heard of and maybe already have played before.
Wow, I couldn't have said it any better. Now, if you go to the website right now, you could register for tickets. Do you have to register? Like, if someone forgets to register, can they still go, or how does that work?
You don't have to register, but if you register, you will get our reminders and announcements immediately. If you're watching, this episode or listening to this episode, and it's a day before Play NYC or it's the middle of Play NYC, that's okay. Just go to play-nyc.com. You can go watch, participate, like whenever you'd like. But definitely sign up now to get notified, because that is the way to get the most up-to-date information, the links when they're going live, live announcements and whatnot. And we will be communicating with everybody who registers in advance throughout the week as well.
Well, there you go. You heard it. Play-nyc.com. Go there right now to register. Make sure to go there for the show. You could also check out Playcrafting at playcrafting.com. See what Dan and his crew do outside of Play NYC and in addition to Play NYC. And if you have Twitter, follow them at Playcrafting, which is just at Playcrafting. And Dan, they can find you at Dan Butchko. Dan, thank you so much for joining me today. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Barry. When you were saying in the beginning that this is our 4th time doing this, where does the time go? It's like terrifying and crazy, but it's also, I'm just so grateful to you and all the folks that took that leap with us in the first year with Play NYC, and to kind of see it grow and evolve and change and adapt along the way. It would be Play NYC and Playcrafting would be nothing without the developers, fans, press, streamers that are so near and dear to my heart and to our hearts here at Playcrafting. And so we really want to thank you and thank everybody for being along with us for this journey. And even though it's going to feel a little bit different this year, we really want to put something together that gets people really excited and engaged, and really offers, if nothing else, something fun for the week of August 10th to put your mind on and discover and go on a nice little journey with us throughout the week through games, because games are just so fun and exciting and powerful and have the ability to change the world in a lot of ways. And I think we can see that now more than ever. So thank you, and thank you to everybody that's been with us along the way. And we can't wait to have you join us this year for Play NYC.
Thank you, Dan. Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. From the very first year, it's been a pleasure. And I look forward to these talks all the time. It's great. It's become a tradition. Like I said, it's annual. But yeah, for those wondering, it is August 10th to the 16th. That is the week to pay attention, to go to play-nyc.com and be a part of that. Now, for everything else, if you want Nintendo news, more industry talks like this, our biannual or bi-weekly podcast and stuff like that, please go to NintendoFuse.com and on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching. Again, thank you, Dan, for joining me today, and
Thank
everyone
you.
else.
And everybody, go have fun and play some games.
Absolutely. Play games, enjoy, and partake in Play NYC. Have a great day, everybody, and take care.
Bye-bye.